Lucy Mitchell.
Hello, Lucy.
Hi, Emma.
So, can you just tell everyone who you are in relation to me, firstly?
Yeah, sure. So, Emma and I knew each other from about a few months old and have grown up together ever since. So I think we've known each other now 34 years.
God, we're old, mate.
Tell me about it. Hey, speak for yourself, love.
Shut up. You're always going to have that on me because I'm a little bit older. I hate that. Yeah, so our parents were in the baby clinic, I think, together, weren't they, or something like that?
Yeah, or certainly our mums. So your mum Annie and my mum Bev met at some sort of baby group or something. And in fact, my mum was talking about it the other day to me, and she reckons that Annie didn't enjoy this baby group. So I think they only met a couple of times there, but then struck up this friendship that lasted, forever. So it's quite nice actually that our mums are best of friends, we're best of friends, our dads are best of friends, and when the boys were younger, they were the best of friends, and they're still good friends now. It's pretty amazing.
And we used to go on holiday together as well, so you were like my sister, which is cool. We've got many
oh my gosh,
many embarrassing holiday videos of like us doing stupid things and trying to get the boys to do stupid things as well.
And we succeeded on several accounts, which I think they'd be mortified to know that it's on video.
I think most of the time we only paid them in popcorn, which is ridiculous. They were so cheap, so cheap.
How life changes. Can you imagine trying to offer them popcorn to do something now? I don't think that would work.
Far too wise. So when we were little, did you think we'd still be friends when we were grown-ups?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like never in doubt. I mean, and I tell you why, because you may recall we went to lower school together, Silso Lower School, and then you went off to your very posh school, and and I went off to a different school, and I remember us playing in the playground every lunchtime before you left the school, because you obviously the year above me, and we had this awful fear that we wouldn't see each other, and it just wasn't the case. And so I think if you can make things work when you're sort of 7 years old and keep in touch, I had no doubt that we would continue to. So no, it doesn't surprise me at all that we're still the best of pals.
No, it doesn't surprise me either. I think because we've got that kind of friendship that if you don't see each other for ages, you just pick back up and it's easy. It is like a sister. It's more like a sister than a friend, I think, in a lot of cases.
I think we just know each other so well, and we've been through a lot together now, and I think it can go months, but it's like we only saw each other yesterday. And also, I remember someone saying to me a little while ago, if you can sit and watch a movie in silence with somebody and still think it was a great evening, that's a sign of a good friendship. And I think that's what we have. Sometimes we can sit there with a bottle of wine and watch the TV and have just as good a night as if we're in a pub chatting away for hours. And I think that's true friendship.
I'll probably be having a nap about halfway through that film one.
Mate, I don't make it, since having Pippa, I don't make it through a film these days. Austin and I always say, what film should we start that we're obviously not going to finish? Do you know what I mean?
Just watch little increments of it each time.
Absolutely. It takes us several days to finish a film.
It's a nice treat. Can you remember your thoughts when I first told you I had Parkinson's, and can you remember how I told you?
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget, actually. I remember exactly where I was, and it was via text message.
Sorry, mate. I apologise for that.
No, because you'd only just come out of the seeing the consultant, and I had been hassling you with text messages all morning, seeing how it had gone. And I remember we met for a drink. Was it a week or 2 weeks before you were going in to see this chap? And it was a warm evening, and we sat there and we talked about two scenarios. We talked about whether it could be Parkinson's or motor neurons, and your fear of motor neurons, which is absolutely understandable. And so I will never forget that I was in a chair at my desk at work when I got your message to say, Luce, it's Parkinson's, but I'm okay, I'm all right. And I think it was me that had more tears that day than you. And I think part of it was because you felt you were so relieved, one, to know, but two, that it wasn't motor neurons. And it was the first day of you just being unbelievably positive through the whole thing, and you, that text message I still have, and you haven't changed from that moment. Your attitude towards Parkinson's changed at all. It was that yes, you had it, but it certainly wasn't going to define you, and it didn't on that day, and it hasn't ever since. So I'll never forget my feelings, very selfishly, of having a few tears and having to go to the bathroom at work, and you being the total opposite and going, hey, I now know what this is. Knowledge is power. But rock and roll. What do we do from here? So it was it was a really emotional day, and I remember my mum calling me, and she was going out for a drink with Annie and Ned that night.
Yeah,
they
Mum
were going
said
to
you got hammered with your mum.
for a drink, and again, my mum just saying, how amazing everybody was, your mum and dad, you, but ultimately we were all dealing with it far worse than you were.
But I think that, I'd almost had my time to come to terms with it a little bit. I was working on the website at work, so I kind of knew a lot of the symptoms. I knew what it was like as a condition. And I'd kind of, started to think that I had it. And so I think it was almost like a confirmation when I went in and they told me that I'd got it. And I think for a lot of other people it was harder because they'd sort of not come to that realisation themselves.
I think sometimes you're too modest because, yes, you had done an enormous amount of research, and yes, I think certainly from what we had talked about, it was something, you just didn't know what it was, and the signs were leading towards Parkinson's. But the fact is, on the day, I don't know anybody that would have dealt with it like you did, and I think you need to be giving yourself a lot more credit for that than you have done.
Okay, mate, I will.
Quite right too.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Have your thoughts about Parkinson's shifted since my diagnosis? Is there anything you were sort of surprised about, or that actually you kind of weren't expecting to be the case with Parkinson's?
Yeah, so, well, I guess the first one was I didn't know you could get it as young as you got it. So this preconceived idea of Parkinson's being for people later in life and more mature was just wrong in every way. So I think what you did was you opened up a world of information to people, because people started to think, well, hang on a minute, like, I thought I knew what Parkinson's was and who it affected, but actually a lot of us didn't. So my awareness of Parkinson's has grown enormously. I don't think I've ever sat down and read so much about something and been so surprised about it. I think how you can live with Parkinson's is possibly the bit that has surprised me most, because from you've taught us all that life doesn't stop. In fact, it's opened up a number of doors for you. Some of the experiences you've had, you might not have had if you hadn't got Parkinson's. So it's really opened our eyes to the fact that you can go one of two ways with a lot of illnesses. I know it's sort of the same for a number of illnesses, but with Parkinson's, you have absolutely proved that life doesn't end. You make what you want it to be, and you are restricted with something like Parkinson's as far as you're prepared to let it, and you just haven't. So I think for a lot of people, I think your age shocked a lot of us. That is just not what we were expecting with Parkinson's. But I think that the real beauty of the situation is that we've learned so much about how you can live with this.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that. I think it kind of, for a number of people, it kind of shocked them into, like, my brother, I was talking to him the other day, and he said that he suddenly became aware that it was something he could potentially get, and it really frightened him.
Yeah, I think that was the big one, is that, I've only ever known people in their later stages of life get Parkinson's. So to know that you got it, I think maybe, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, Ed, but I think maybe it made us all feel a little bit vulnerable to things, because when you don't realise at our age that we can get certain things, and then you do, but it also, while it made you feel, some of us may be a little bit more vulnerable to things like this, it also made us feel unbelievably grateful, because you realise over time, and especially with your book, just how difficult that first year was. And I do wake up sometimes, especially around a bad night with my little lady, and I think about you, and I think about, actually, pull your socks up and get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, because every day people wake up with something like Parkinson's, and their day is going to be much more challenging. If they can get on with it and deal with it head first, then a few hours lack of sleep for me is just nothing. So I think it's made a lot of us feel, it's made us open our eyes, it's made us realise that we're a little bit more vulnerable than we like to think we are at our age, but it's also, from a very positive perspective, made us realise that life's what you make it, and if you get out of bed with the wrong head on, then you're going to have a bad day, or stick a good head on and have a positive attitude, and you can get through most things.
I love that, that's awesome. If Parkinson's was stood in front of you now, what would you say to it? You can swear if you like.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say what I'd like to say to it. You know, in all fairness, I think what I would like to say to it is that I think it's cruel. I think it's unfair, and I think it's cruel. But equally, you know, thank you for being something that allows us to have our mate Emma around pretty much as we've always had her. And while there are a number of things I know, especially with your neck and stuff at the moment, which is just unbelievably cruel of Parkinson's, if that's what it is, although we think now maybe it's not, so we've been blaming it, and maybe it doesn't deserve to be blamed.
Parkinson's can handle the blame, it's alright.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not been helping.
We've all been blaming it, but maybe we shouldn't have been. If your neck is anything to do with Parkinson's, then it's cruel. If it is this prolapsed disc, then the other word I need to use is sorry to Parkinson's, because I've been pretty awful about it ever since your neck situation. But you know, I would like to say to it that one day we will find a cure, and it won't beat us.
Power, lady, I like it. You do a fist pump in the air. You can't see me, but final question for you, mate. Thank you for being so honest. Do you have any advice for friends of people who are newly diagnosed that you'd want to pass on? Anything you've learned?
Yeah. Do you know what? Actually, I'm afraid I'm going to use a piece of advice you gave me, because Austin and I and some of your pals, you said the same thing to. There was a group of us, but I think it was Austin that asked you the question. He said to you, what can we do? We love you and we want to help, so what can we do? And you said to us, and I'll never forget it, you said, don't treat me any differently. And I will never ever forget that, and rightly or wrongly, and there are probably some times where you think, bloody hell guys, give me a break, do you know what I mean? Like, because we've taken it so literally, but we hope you feel, and we feel that we don't treat you any differently until you ask us to, until you say, you know, I'm having a challenging day, can you help me with this? And I think we're all good enough friends that you can say that. Yeah. But ultimately, to us, you are no different to the person that was diagnosed, gosh, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago now, Em? Yeah. Is it coming up to 5 years this summer?
Yeah.
So to us, you're no different. So my advice to people, to friends and family who have someone that is diagnosed with something like Parkinson's, is that person is still the same person that you love, that you've known for a long time, that is your friend. There's these great adverts at the moment that people might have seen, and there's this great one of two friends playing on a cop.
Yeah.
And one of them's got cancer, and it says, you know, a friend with cancer is still a friend. And I think ultimately it doesn't just apply to cancer; it applies to all illnesses and diseases. The same person is there. Don't treat them any differently. Just support them and be there for them, but just the same as you would be anyway.